Hello, and welcome back to another fun, energetic, and exciting season of Reeltv. On our show, we report and discuss the latest movie news and bring you the scoop from behind the scenes in Hollywood. I'm your host, Connor Smith.
And I'm also your host, Eric Dowling. Today we'll be discussing the latest summer film releases. For example, I saw a ton of movies this summer, mostly in the first half of the summer, but I would say my favorite movie this summer was probably World War Z, followed then by Star Trek, and then World's End is like my top.
Okay, for me, I would say, now I go see a lot of movies in the summer. I don't really have a lot of friends, so movies are kind of where I go. I would say my favorite was Star Trek Into Darkness, but there were a lot of great movies. This was a solid summer.
There were.
There weren't too many movies that blew me out of the water, but most of them were like above average, I would say. I wasn't disappointed a whole lot.
I think I'm waiting for like 2014. 2014 I think is probably the most excited besides 2015 when freaking everything ever great comes out. But 2014 I'm really excited, and this was kind of like that anticipating
waiting period.
Yeah, and I'm like, because last summer was pretty good, summer before that was fantastic, and then this summer was just kind of like we're testing out some new things.
Yeah, and it wasn't there were a lot of sequels, but there were a lot of great original films too.
Like Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim was fantastic. There were some good indie movies this summer. Blue Jasmine, Fruitvale Station, The Way Back.
I really want to see The Way Back. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to see it, but I'm
it's
gonna
fantastic.
Try and snag it on DVD.
It's very good. But there were a lot of great sequels this summer too. As Eric said, World War Z is phenomenal. I did not see that coming in any sense. This Is the End, The Heat. There were some funny comedies. But as usual, there were our fair share of stinkers here. I mean, Grown Ups 2 came out, Smurfs 2 came out.
Hangover 3, which is
Hangover. I enjoyed Hangover 3. A lot of people didn't like it.
The Croods came out, I think.
I heard The Croods was all right. White House Down was awful. Two Guns was awful. I'm trying to think of some terrible movies I watched.
Yeah, they were.
The Internship, The Purge.
Yeah, I forgot that
there was a lot of stinkers too. Yeah. But as most summers, there was some good, there was some bad.
I think, well, for me, the reason I liked World War Z so much was simply because it was just so different take on the whole zombie franchise. Like, I know that people at Penn State helped work on the movie. Like, we had this guy, he's actually developing a zombie virus at Penn State, and he helped do the movements of the zombies and stuff. And I know people were all up in arms about, oh, they're the fast zombies, oh, they're this, they're that, and the other thing. You got to take it as a movie. You got to look at it as the fact that it's a movie. They're trying to cater to a more wide audience. They're trying to make things fast-paced in a movie format because they don't have the time that The Walking Dead has to do 12 hours to do basically one storyline.
I think if there's what I wrote about the movie was there was one thing that I think World War Z, it stands apart from other zombie movies. And I think that World War Z, more so than The Walking Dead, more so than Night of the Living Dead, more so than Dawn of the Dead, it has this real sense of terror.
Yeah.
It has this real sense of dread. I mean, there's this scene in a grocery store where hell is broken loose, there are zombies everywhere, and everyone is looting, fend for yourselves. Brad Pitt shoots a man, and cops walk by him. And in that way, zombie movies usually aren't as hectic. Usually, 28 Days Later, Walking Dead, usually no one's there anymore. It takes place when everyone's kind of dead, you know what I mean?
I actually think also Zombieland captures that really well. I think
Zombieland's great too.
Zombieland could be one of the best zombie movies ever. I know a lot of people might argue with me about that, but I personally think it's one of the best. But World War Z is freaking fantastic, and you really got to take it apart from the book, because if you look at it as part of the book, you're just going to be disappointed. I'm just going to be honest. I read the book. I love the book. All parts of it. I even have visions in my head of how you can make a perfect actual World War Z zombie movie book. And it's how they did it is not possible, but it works in the movie form. And yeah, World War Z was great, but Star Trek.
Yeah, look at it on its own terms, people. So let's do a quick 2 minutes, 3 minutes about the great summer blockbusters, like the great action movies of the summer. So we both liked Star Trek Into Darkness. We both enjoyed Man of Steel. What other action movies were there this summer?
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. I was a bit disappointed in Iron Man 3. I still enjoyed it. What do you think?
Okay, just going on record, I know that I said this last season, but for all those who are dedicated watchers who might have forgotten, I am probably one of the bigger Iron Man fanboys out there. I've been following Iron Man since I was like this big. I've been wanting an Iron Man movie since I was about that big. And the first one lived up to that. The second one was pretty close. And then the third one just, I don't want to say ruined it. I was completely taken aback by the twist and everything, but it's almost, I compare it to if you're a Batman fan and you've been waiting for 2 other movies to see the Joker, and then you finally see the Joker, and the Joker turns out to be Robin. That's kind of like on par of how disappointed I was with this movie.
It's fair enough. I mean, I would say it's better than 2 because I think 2 is not that exciting. I think 3 has great action sequences. I think it's well directed, well written. I enjoyed the performances, but I think when it comes down to it, the twist was lame and it was a little convoluted. I feel like the problem with Iron Man movies is that they never have good villains. Right. I mean, I think Iron Man wanted a good villain, but who was it? I don't remember. Iron Man 2, great villain.
Ironmonger, Whiplash, which was actually a combination
Whiplash
of 2.
was cool, but then he sat in a lab the whole movie, so that was lame. And obviously, as you said, 3 had very
But I mean,
lame
the Mandarin
twists.
is Iron Man's villain. Like when you get Captain America and Red Skull, Thor and Loki, Hulk and Abomination. Like when you have your superhero villain team ups, it's Iron Man and Mandarin. Like those 2 go hand in hand, and it's just kind of.
It ruined it.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. But I'm really excited because Robert Downey Jr. signed on for 2 more Avengers movies, not necessarily for another Iron Man movie, but
that's good.
Avengers 2 is going to be awesome. Huge fan of Ultron. Just Josh Whedon is the man. Coulson lives. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm so excited for that show. And,
yeah, Marvel's awesome.
But also in terms of great movies and kind of an ending of an era, the Coronado trilogy. And for all those who don't know,
those were good.
The Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End, your genre spoof movies that were just so excellently made by Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost. I mean, they all started at space. I don't know if you've seen the show, but they have some sort of weird, just sixth sense of taking a genre, putting it on its head, and just completely taking all the conventions and making it hilarious. And I don't know if you saw The World's End.
I did see The World's End. I think I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. And I think it was about, if you liked Hot Fuzz, if you liked Shaun of the Dead, you will like The World's End. It's the same kind of humor. It's the same pacing. It's the same actors. The offbeat sense of humor is still there. It's funny, and I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite comedy of the summer. I would say the hardest I laughed this summer was This Is the End with with
James Franco.
With James Franco, and it was just Jonah Hill. It was phenomenal. It was hilarious. But The World's End was kind of that quirky British humor that we don't get a whole lot too often in America. So.
But I mean, I like Martin Freeman, and I know Martin Freeman's really becoming super, super popular here. Mm-hmm. He's been kind of like that up and coming, and I know he's really good friends with Simon Pegg. So having him be more of a substantial role in the movies, because he's been in the first 2 movies in the trilogy. He was in Shaun of the Dead for literally 30 seconds, and then Hot Fuzz for a minute or 2. Yeah. But I mean, he finally has a more noticeable role in this movie, and I think that's great. Martin Freeman's awesome, and Sherlock season 3 is starting in January, and I'm so excited for that.
Well, we're running short for time, so let's give our favorite movies of the summer. Let's just wrap it all up for one little airbender ball for everyone out there. Favorite blockbuster of the summer, Star Trek Into Darkness for me, fantastic. Number 2 would be Pacific Rim, phenomenal movie. And 3, I'd have to go with This Is the End. But if you're into some indie stuff, Fruitvale Station, The Way, Way Back, Blue Jasmine were phenomenal. And your next, Man of Steel, a lot of good stuff. What were yours?
Best blockbuster, I would say Man of Steel. I kind of like Man of Steel a little bit more as far as getting me really involved in a movie. Man of Steel, but possibly best movie of the summer. I really, really liked World War Z, but
I did too.
At points I kind of flop between World War Z and Star Trek because Benedict Cumberbatch is awesome as an actor, and he was Khan in the movie. And I think kind of surprise pick wasn't a movie. I would say Under the Dome. If you guys haven't watched that,
good pick.
It's a really, really interesting show, and I know The Simpsons touched on the issue, but Under the Dome, watch it.
Movie.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll fill you in on all the latest theatrical releases, as well as what's coming soon to Blu-ray, DVD, and video on demand.
Welcome back. Next Friday, September 20th, we have Prisoners and Battle of the Year are being released in theaters. In Prisoners, Keller Dover, played by Hugh Jackman, is facing every parent's worst nightmare. His 6-year-old daughter, Anna, is missing, together with her young friend, Joy, and as minutes turn to hours, panic sets in. And as the police in pursuit, multiple leads and pressure mounts. Knowing his child's life is at stake, the frantic Dover decides he has no choice but to take matters into his own hands. But just how far will this desperate father go to protect his family? Sounds intense.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for that one. So, looking to cash in on the equally horrible Step Up films, Battle of the Year dances its way into theaters this Friday. In the film, the competition Battle of the Year attracts all the best teams from around the world, but the Americans haven't won in 15 years. Dante, played by Laz Alonso, enlists Blake, played by Jason Holloway, to assemble a team of the best dancers and bring the trophy back to America where it all started. On Blu-ray, DVD, and video on demand, this upcoming Tuesday, World War Z is being released. We talked about World War Z a little bit. We both think it's phenomenal. So give us a quick 2 reasons why it's great. Like just 2 10-second reasons why you should go see World War Z or rent it.
I've never been so on edge in a movie before in my life, and I saw I Am Legend in theaters and also multiple times on DVD, and that's the only movie I can say comes close. Second, Brad Pitt is the man, and I don't think, besides Inglourious Basterds and Fight Club, this might be his best movie.
Oof, good stuff. All right, for me, I would say my 2 would be the scene, where were they? With the wall. Where was that scene?
Israel.
There's this scene in Israel that will blow your mind. It's phenomenal. And then there's also the initial scene where the zombies come out. I'm just going to say there are 2 zombie scenes that blew me away. Excellent stuff. Rent this movie. Just go, please. It's great.
Also out this week is Sofia Coppola's The Bling Ring. Inspired by actual events and based on a Vanity Fair article, a group of fame-obsessed teenagers use the internet to track celebrities' whereabouts in order to rob their homes. But that's all we have for releases.
DVDs and releases this week.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll fill you in on some Hollywood buzz with our 2 new hosts. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. My name is Adam Murray.
And I'm Brian C. Capon.
And as promised, here's the Hollywood buzz. Disney announced this week that they have postponed the release date of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, back a year to summer 2016. This comes in the wake of Disney moving Edgar Wright's Ant-Man from its original November 6, 2015 release date to a new release date of July 31, 2015. Reportedly, Pirates 5 has been facing script issues, and coming off the heels of the Jerry Bruckheimer flop, The Lone Ranger, it's no surprise Disney is rethinking their marketing strategies. The film made only $88 million despite its colossal $215 million budget.
Oh my goodness.
Disney production president recently said in a statement that, like audiences around the globe, we have high expectations for Jack Sparrow's next adventure, and we want to have all the right elements in place. We're not there yet, and we want to make sure this project is everything these wonderful characters, and of course, the fans, deserve.
Well, that's
I
good.
agree.
Yep, but definitely. In other sequel news, Jurassic Park 4 has received an official title, Jurassic World. After 12 years of anticipation, the next Jurassic Park film will hit theaters June 12, 2015. Colin Trevorrow will direct this 4th action adventure, and it will be shot in 3D, and he wrote this screenplay with Derek Connolly. Earlier this year, a 3D re-release of the original 1993 Jurassic Park inspired a return to the dinosaur madness of decades past, and it brought in $114 million globally. Everybody seems to be pretty excited for it, including Star Trek and Super 8 director J.J. Abrams, who tweeted, "Jurassic World, sign me up. Obviously, I'll be there." First released in 1993, the first Jurassic Park film grossed more than $1 billion at the box office, and its popularity spawned 2 sequels, Jurassic Park: The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. Steven Spielberg's involvement in the film is unknown at this time.
Though Catching Fire has yet to be released in theaters, there has been a lot of Mockingjay casting news this past month. 4-time Oscar nominee Julianne Moore has been cast as President Alma Coin, the steely leader of the rebellion in The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2. Moore will star opposite Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth in the third and fourth installments of the Hunger Games franchise, slated for release in November 2014 and November 2015, respectively. In Suzanne Collins' best-selling books, Coyne leads the fight against President Snow and the Capitol that began in the mysterious District 13. But hey, we've got a while to go until Mockingjay, Catching Fire, the latest installment in the franchise, arrives in theaters on November 22nd, and we cannot wait.
That's right. Bees! In David Gordon Green's gothic indie film Joe, Nicolas Cage stars as a good-intentioned but self-destructive ex-con who can't resist helping his dirt-poor protege, Gary, Mud's Ty Sheridan. Gary in this film is the product of a broken home, and when the desperate teen turns to Cage's Joe for a job, and when the kid shows up the first day with his dear old dad in tow, it's apparent to Joe that Gary is in a hopeless situation. The film debuted in Venice, where Sheridan won the Best Newcomer Prize. The Worldview Entertainment produced and financed film then appeared in Toronto, where deals were sealed with Japan, Australia, and Scandinavia. The Creative Arts Agency is representing the North American film rights, with Lionsgate/Roadside Attractions and Magnolia Pictures being the frontrunners as of Friday.
Well, that's all the movie and TV news we have for this week. So we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll have some fun with trivia. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Today we are going to be starting a new segment on the show, Reeltv Trivia. For the first episode, I am your host, Brian C. Capon. With me are two contestants.
I'm Rachel Hine.
And I'm Adam Murray.
Okay, so are you guys ready?
Ready
I'm ready.
as I will ever be.
Okay, our first question is a real eagle question, which focuses on animals in film. First question. In 2003, Finding Nemo, the CGI family film written and directed by Andrew Stanton, was released by Walt Disney Pictures. Finding Nemo also happens to be the fifth film produced by Pixar Animation Studios. Now, in the film, an Australian barracuda attacks fish parents Marlin and Coral's clutch of eggs, leaving only one last egg, Nemo. What type of fish is Nemo? Is he A, an Ocellaris clownfish, B, a regal blue tang, C, a great white shark, or D, a scalloped hammerhead? Who got that first?
Me. Just kidding.
I don't.
I think
I could.
A, Ocellaris clownfish.
That is correct. Good job. Okay, good job for trying.
Thank you.
And now it's time for some awards trivia. I'm going to name 4 different films, but only 3 of them have won 11 Academy Awards. It will be your job to figure out which one did not win the 11. Was it A, Ben-Hur, made in 1959, B, Titanic, which was made in 1997, C, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, 2003, or D, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975?
This is tough.
Ben-Hur was, I'm going to say,
All right.
I think it was D, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
And you would be right.
Yay.
Good job.
Good job.
Well, that's a wrap for another episode of Reeltv. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, I'm Brian C. Capon.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Adam. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.